don't know if you guys have noticed this, but have you seen TikTok being blamed a lot recently for why young people don't like Joe Biden?
Yeah, no, they're doing this a lot. They did this with military recruiting too. They're blaming TikTok for like the shortfall in military recruiting. They're blaming it for a lot.
Yeah, because troops are on TikTok showing what being in the military is actually like, or just being like, this sucks. But I mean, like, I've seen a lot of commentary from people being like, TikTok is brainwashing young people into hating Joe Biden because, like, it's just, short context-free clips of him looking like a doddering buffoon, or, TikTok clips attacking him, or like, propagandizing the youth into being now, I think 70% disapproval rating for Joe Brandon among people under the age of 30. But like by 60 or 70%, they still want Democrats in control of the country, but they just hate Joe Brandon. And that he's become like a punchline, like he's become a stand-in for everything like ineffectual and just fucking incompetent about like the country we live in now. And a lot of people are blaming TikTok for that. So the way to counter that, better TikToks, more TikToks, positive, Brandon affirming TikToks instead of Brandon defaming TikToks.
What if we set one of those clips where he just fucking glitches out for 30 seconds? To one of those cool robot sounds that they like to use on there. That'd be fun.
Remembering my childhood in 1943. I think I why am I giving the White House advice? Why, what would they even do with it, right? But what is the new thing for young people? And by young people, I mean everything from actual young people to millennials who are now in their 50s. It's to go online, be the most terrified person ever, never do anything, never confront anyone, just accept any disrespect that comes your way, and be like, oh, I'm unhinged, I'm mentally ill, I'm crazy, I'm unmedicated, I'm scary, I'm a schizo. Everyone has this. Who's really unhinged in his chaos era is the man who doesn't know where he is. And has given like $70 billion to an army that's losing like 1,000 people an hour. Pretty unhinged.
Just like, dropping billions of dollars in small arms and fucking shoulder fired rockets with not even like checking where they're going. It's fine. They'll be all right.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
That's chaos energy.
Yeah.
I think that they should. What's the thing they do now where it's like it's the vacant stare? That's like the new thing for like women influencers. But Joe certainly has that.
Oh, he has got it.
He's succubus maxing.
Yeah. The feminine urge, man, to take your Adderall and your iced coffee and get railed in a Madewell dress in your unhinged era. Okay.
At the dinner table, Ms. Gold, wearing a checked kitchen apron over her yellow dress, sat at one end and Dr. Katz at the other. Ms. Gold said a swift prayer. Come, Lord Jesus, be our guest, and let these gifts to us be blessed. As the chilled pea soup was
she's
served.
Christian, too. That's awesome.
Dr. Katz previously had a cultural interest in religion, but her faith has rubbed off on him. I don't think he had ever taken seriously the idea of believing in anything until he started dating me, she said. Both of them had published in First Things, a conservative religious journal founded by her godfather, Richard Newhouse.
It's like, I mean, she really thinks a lot of herself, where she's like, yeah, actually, he's really religious now, and I saved his soul. It's not the fact that like I'm like 1/10 his age, and you got him into Catholicism. There are guys this age who are probably dating 27-year-olds who have gotten into like metalcore for the 27-year-old they married.
You know how we talked about how there's a significant chunk of Americans who would absolutely like positively endorse genocide to protect like going to Cheesecake Factory on a Friday night. There's also a sliver of people who have much more influence and power who willing to do genocide to maintain their fancy little garden parties that are their entire lives. Like, her life is this party. It's just a bunch of people humoring her in all of her delusions and never challenging any of them. And she just gets to float through it. And if you take that away from her or people like them, that makes you worthy of death.
Well, Matt, to take that away from her, that's what canceling is.
Yeah.
That's cancel culture. If you take away the tenured positions of her senior citizen husband who fucks his students on a regular basis. I mean,
rich liberals want to have a tea party too. It's the same fucking thing. They're just mirror images of each other.
I would have liked to have known anything except for like the names of these people and like what they do. And it's like, did I need to know like more of these people?
Yeah,
It's just like a fucking endless cycle. There's just always a new fucking asshole who's like, has intellectually crazy dinner parties, and then the 50 people who are like, check this guy out. He's a piece of shit, and it's like, well, like now I know about him.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, now I know about him. Now I can never get him out of my brain unless they invent like the real eternal sunshine surgery where I could forget everyone ever involved in any of this. But no, this is just, it's stuck here forever. It's like when the guy in fucking Tomorrow Never Dies who had the bullet lodged in his brain. The guy who is like the evil version of Nick Denton from Gawker in that James Bond movie.
Says you, Felix, I am going to, as soon as this episode wraps up, going to reenact the last scene from Pi. And that is going to take care of all these people's names. I'm never going to ever think about any of them again.
If you're hearing this, you've heard the news. Boris Johnson is going to resign as the prime minister. He's the leader of the Conservative Party. They're making him stay on until October. While his so-called friends find a replacement for him right in front of him. This is a crazy day. This is a historic day, and probably one of the worst days of my life, if not all of our lives.
Absolutely. Ask not for who Big Bang bongs. It bongs for Boris.
It's we've for so long in this show we've tried to support political movements that reflect our values and political leaders that we think are worthy of support and admiration, and it gets taken away from us every single time. No matter anyone good, they just take away. It's gone up the apples and pears at number 10 Downing. They're having a laugh. All we can do is simply raise a pint to our Boris.
To Boris. We're all drinking a pint right now. I'm already in the hospital. I'm experiencing pancreatitis just from the sight of this beer that's 98% head. It's a typical English beer that's 98 to 99% head, and my pancreas is coming through my throat.
98% head, also 98 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Well, that's just, it's
like
honest,
a good English lager.
You're not paying for bubbles. You're not paying for any of that stuff. You're paying for pure beer. And right now, that's what we need. I think it's obvious. I think it's, the forces of capital. That's who has always been fighting against Boris his entire career. Will never forgive him for getting Brexit done.
Nope.
Never.
Nope. No, and look, and in just a little bit, I'm going to be talking to journalist Ollie Vargas, who covers Latin America, and we had him on not too long ago to talk about the coup in Bolivia, talk about the sort of changing tide in Latin America, but what's going on in England. Let's be very clear, this is a coup. This is a coup. Yeah. This is the forces of neoliberal capitalist hegemony are doing a color revolution against the government of Boris.
I mean, you do it a bit, but that is sort of true. Like the people leading this from within the party are all part of some weird, right wing, the sort of deep state apparatus deal. But it's not because Boris is a threat to capital. It's just because he's a big bungling oaf, and they want to get rid of him because he's trying to do it his own way. And at a certain point, they have to assert institutional values.
Matt, I mean, we were just observing last night. I really thought Boris was gonna. I thought Boris was gonna take it home because I was
rooting for him.
I was rooting for it.
Me too.
I mean, to have 60 ministers resign and then just be like, nah, I'm putting all nonces. It's the nonce shield wall. Chris Pincher, the guy's
name was Chris Pincher.
Chris Pincher, the guy who is groping young men. His name is Chris Pincher.
Yeah. So Boris's whip was Keller from Oz. He knowingly picked him to do that. I thought he was gonna hold it out. I really did. I thought I was watching the end of the first Matrix movie. I was like, oh my god, he sees the ones and zeros. He's blocking Michael Gove. He's not letting him to be level up. Yeah,
boom, go, boom.
It's true. People talk about how Trump tried to do a coup, and he did the least effort he could. He didn't do everything he could. He had some psychos in his ear after Bob Barr said there was no evidence of large-scale fraud, saying, fuck him, put me in there, coach. I'll be AG. I'll say there was fraud. We'll fucking get into those alternate electors. And the thing that stopped him was all the high-level DOJ people said, I'm going to quit and you're going to look bad. And that little fat bitch folded like a deck chair immediately. The alpha Trump mega lion. Oh no, they'll think I'll look bad if everyone quits. Never mind. I'll just leave. Meanwhile, Boris is like, hey bitch, you can't quit if I fire your ass. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't think,
And he was able to he actually confronted the last line of defense of institutional prerogative against an individual executive, which is mass resignations. That's the one thing they have in their pocket. And he just fucking called their bluff. And it was honestly kind of breathtaking. But at the end of the day, he just didn't have it.
Well, they probably I don't think it was the ministers. I think that's a smokescreen. He didn't care about losing any of those people. What does Boris care about the most? He cares about having children out of wedlock while married to another woman. And they were probably like, Boris, you do work tirelessly for the United Kingdom, for Brexit, and for the Commonwealth, and for the Queen. But you're still a man and you have to sleep. And the next time you go to sleep, MI6 is going to give you a vasectomy. And they threaten to take what matters to him the most, which is getting weird J.C. Penney manager looking women pregnant every 2 years.
And having as many kids as possible, and then showing dominance to those children by tackling them on the football pitch.
Yes,
that's our Boris. That's our Boris.
He's literally repopulating England, and they'll never forgive him for that. They'll never forgive him for any of the good things he did. All of them. I think 70 million Britons would have died of COVID if it was anyone but Boris.
It's true. He protected them.
Yes.
He bonged Big Ben for Brexit.
Yeah. Can you imagine COVID without Brexit? Can you imagine that?
Oh my God! All those sex arses coming in from Calais, coded in COVID.
Yeah. Well, the passports would be the wrong color.
That lowers if you don't have the blue passport, it lowers your immune system by up to 50%. That's science.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the New York Times article that came out that lo and behold, reveals now to the public the scale of the terrorist atrocities U.S. backed that were carried out in the 21st century against the Colombian people. And then of course, in the New York Times is telling of it, it was we were spending all these millions of dollars to Colombia in spite of the fact that they're killing thousands of, basically of just, farmers and union organizers or whatever. I mean, just the true scale of the violence and you said, the way in which Colombia has been the headquarters for the destabilization of the rest of the region. But that is only possible by an extraordinary scale of terrorism and violence directed at the Colombian people themselves.
Yeah, it's been a war against the Colombian people going back 50 years. Peace accords were signed in 2016, marking a formal end to the civil war. But what we've seen is that the FARC, the guerrilla groups, handed in their weapons, gave up their territory, entered legal politics, but the state never ended its war. I mean, now around 2 to 3 union leaders are killed per week in the rural areas of Colombia. A lot of people as well who signed the peace accords, FARC members who signed the peace accords. The war never ended. And it's in the countryside, there's a state of state complicity in the lawlessness that goes on, in the coordination with the paramilitary groups. And that is a big part of what has turned Colombia as well into a narco state, and along with the poverty. For example, in the Colombian countryside, a coca producer, someone who grows the coca leaf, which in itself is not a drug, but in Colombia, people are growing 5-6 hectares of pure coca that is going straight to the drug trade. And the price of this coca is so low. For example, in Bolivia, where we have a legal coca grow, there's a set amount that people are allowed to grow. Each farmer has about a quarter of a hectare of coca, and they can live off that. It provides a sort of basic income because selling the leaf, there's not enough. The supply and demand is matched up to a point where people can actually earn a living. But in Colombia, because there's no development, people can't grow anything else. So they go 5-6 hectares of coca, which is 10 times more than what people grow in Bolivia. And means the price is so low, people don't live off the leaf. So now you have families creating cocaine paste within their own homes, and then that's how they earn a living. And that only exists because of the severe underdevelopment. Because if people are growing pineapples or oranges, they have no way to take out. There's no roads. There's no infrastructure for them to be able to grow alternative crops. So then you get this
and like you don't need an industrial process to refine pineapple into like pineapple paste that can be used effectively.
Yeah, but I mean that's the point. Is that, and then all of these areas get taken over by paramilitary groups, by other sort of armed groups, and then there's a constant war between the state and the groups that are there. So there's a cycle of poverty which contributes into Colombia becoming a narco state. And these are the kind of massive structural issues that Gustavo Petro is going to have to deal with. There's no easy solution. The main one will be development for rural areas and to get the presence of the DEA out, because it's with the presence of the DEA that Colombia has become the cocaine powerhouse of the region.
Yeah, I think it should be pretty clear by now, at least by the 21st century, 2022, that the purpose of the DEA is to facilitate the flow of drugs into America, not the opposite.
Exactly. And look, who else was their close ally? Honduras. The cocaine route was Colombia, Honduras, Miami. And both countries were close allies of the United States. And now the ex-president, the right-wing president of Honduras, Juan Orlando Hernandez, has now been extradited to the United States, and they're going to try him in the United States for narco trafficking after having worked with him. I'd say that they wanted him extradited so that they could try him and not have everything come out. If he'd been tried in Honduras, who knows what would have come out about their coordination with the United States.
Yeah, they might have looked into the direct deposits in his checking account and who they were from.
Shinzo Abe was killed by a Diet 7-Up can that someone smoked weed out of.
They dropped a Mento into a 2-liter bottle of Diet Pepsi, and it hit him in the back.
That is such a. If you're like a guy who wants the Japanese Empire back, that's such a bad way to die.
Yeah,
getting killed by like a shaken up tab bottle.
An unbelievable own of someone who indeed was trying to resurrect like one of the imperial dreams of the 20th century. Just murked by this dude.
You got killed by a prop gun used for a community theater production of The Outsiders.
You got killed by one of the things they claimed they pulled off the streets by was pulled off the streets by the Toronto Police Department.
Oh man.
But I respect it more than anything though. Like he made that shit. It's like the ingenuity that went into that is genuinely amazing. And it worked.
It's so Japanese. The fact that he made it, the fact that when they asked him about it, it's not like, oh, I'm the second coming of Christ and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't do it. And I was brainwashed. It's like, no, I didn't like the job he was doing. And I didn't like one of his associations. And the most Japanese, can you picture a Japanese guy running after killing somebody? No.
Yeah.
Can you picture a Japanese guy like jumping over fences and like hiding under an empty kiddie pool and shit? No, it's embarrassing. They're just like, okay, I'm done. Come and get me.
Yeah. Apparently, the story now is that the guy's mom had been a member of the Unification Church, which is a South Korean far right cult, the Moonies, and one of the like key cultural arms of like Asian gladio in the post-war world. And this guy's mom and Abe is associated with it because they have the same political goals. And he's endorsed it. Donald Trump has endorsed it. They both sent videos to Moonie conferences in South Korea. And this guy's mom gave all her money to the Moonies, and he got pissed. So he whipped up this fucking in the line of fire ass gun and just stepped to him. And, I got to say, people are talking about, like, what's the deep state angle here? And I'm like, this kind of feels to me like when that Q guy killed the fucking Gambino boss.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like some guys are out there and they're wired to be like, have the weird ambient paranoid violence that's like permeating everything, but also have their shit together enough to make a fucking gun that could kill somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's when just a guy who wasn't brainwashed and wasn't MK Ultra and none of that does that. It's kind of like, when a guy with no formal music training hears a song and can play it on piano. You just got to give it up for the prodigies.
I got to give it. I mean, like you said, like he said, I didn't have any like particular political disagreement with Shinzo Abe, but he did say the most Japanese reason for killing a former head of state is I was very dissatisfied with him. I mean, guys, I don't know. This comes as a shock to me. I don't know, like how you guys feel about this, but I'm pretty stunned by the news that Elon Musk won't be going through with buying Twitter.
What? No
way.
Mr. Too Damn Follow Through has not followed through, and it just look. And you know what? I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but as soon as I saw the news that he was backing out of the deal, I immediately noticed that all my posts were being shadow banned again after they weren't being shadow banned.
It's amazing. Like this cold wind just blew across my fucking timeline.
Do you notice how like the unthinkable keeps happening? Like Shinzo Abe was known in his life for not being shot to death. What happened?
That was his thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
he was Mr. Too Damn not shot in the back.
It had never happened to him before. Elon Musk, known for doing everything he'll say he'll do. All the time. The reason that we have self-driving cars and have a manned mission to Mars.
Butlers. We have Mars colonies. We have let's not forget the tunnels. I mean, if there isn't like you cannot look at the tunnels and not see that this guy is a fucking fraud. Like that to me is the tunnels. The distance between the promise of what he was like pushing and what he actually followed through with, it's like nothing he says means anything.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he's saying now he doesn't want to do it, but people are pointing out, well, he said he would, and now they might sue him. And my God, what if he gets sued into like being forced to buy Twitter?
Well, I don't think that like they necessarily want him to buy Twitter, but I do think
I think they want like a nice severance.
Yeah, they want to squeeze him, which is like kind of the board's duty.
He's supposed to be on the hook for like $1 billion fee for backing out, but I think they want to negotiate like from that as the basement and try to get like a better deal from him. Because it would be really weird to like force him to buy the company. It's like,
it's not like he just backed out of the deal. He backed out of the deal while spending like a month disparaging the core business of the thing he was trying to buy.
Was pretty wild.
All its like executives. Like, yeah, no, it's. I mean, there's no reason that it has to be capped at just $1 billion. Like, there are a lot of, especially in Delaware. They're suing him in Delaware. They may end up executing him. I know everyone made fun of that Charles Gasparino when they're like,
court has shooters. Okay,
yeah, Delaware.
They'll send the faceless men of Bravos after you.
Yeah, if you get sued in Delaware for like ripping the tag off your mattress, you're going to ADX Florence.
Yeah,
you cannot break laws against companies there. It's not going to happen. Everyone made fun of Charles Gasparino for saying Elon was going to go to prison, but now that I know it's in Delaware, he's at least going to prison.
They have a dungeon underneath the Chancery Court.
The Chancery Court may send the Gold Cloaks to kill all his bastards and end his line forever.
Another huge trove of Hunter Biden videos leaked. And wouldn't you know it, it's all him doing drugs and getting his cock sucked at amazing resorts.
The man stop it. Have you ever known anyone who films himself that much?
It's amazing.
Dude, not even fucking girlfriends on vacations do it like that. My God.
You know what? You know what? It dawns on me. So ever since he kind of like really fell off the beam, which was like in the run up to the 2020 election, really, he has just been going from one super expensive rehab to another, right? And and now we're seeing the video that everyone he goes to, he just keeps doing drugs, he keeps drinking, he keeps having sex. He just uses the facilities like the pools and like
which are like amazing, beautiful resorts. Yeah,
it's just like a way to chill. And what is essentially happening is that the Bidens are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for adult daycare. Like that's the idea. Is like, okay, he's gonna get his dick sucked. He is going to drink. He's going to do drugs. Instead of having him like scoring it in Skid Row and like putting us in a potential to like have a scandal here that we can't cover up, just keep him in professional hands. And that's what they've been doing.
The Van Wilder of rehab.
Yeah, they made Van Wilder real.
I'm a super senior at Promises.
Yeah. Oh my god. I love the rehabs Hunter goes to. He's gone to like 28 in the past year, and they're all these bullshit ones that are like, all right, we give you Percocet and you learn to overcome your drug addiction by doing like falcon husbandry. you learn how to like raise your own shrew from the time it's a baby to the time it's an adult. And that'll help you stop smoking crack and like hiring women to have foursomes with you.
So like the video that came out, like the first one that dropped was like a day after Joe and Jill wired him $20,000 to continue his rehab. He's in a sensory deprivation tank, smoking crack and stroking his big old dick.
Drinking White Claws.
Drinking White Claws. Drinking White Claws. And drinking White Claws, jacking off, and smoking crack in a sensory deprivation tank, which I fucking love because, like, isn't that sort of the opposite of a sensory deprivation tank?
He's amplifying.
He's amplifying all his senses.
The fuck out of them. They are not getting deprived.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys brought that up. I have the New York Times article about this that came out today. It says, most Democrats don't want Biden in 2024.
Yes.
New poll shows. With the country gripped by a pervasive sense of pessimism, the president is hemorrhaging support. President Biden is facing an alarming level of doubt from inside his own party, with 64% of Democratic voters saying they would prefer a new standard bearer in the 2024 presidential campaign, according to a New York Times Siena College poll, as voters nationwide have soured on his leadership, giving him a meager 33% job approval rating. To which the response to that by Dan Pfeiffer was, if you look closely at the poll, Trump actually has a lower approval rating. Where it's like, okay, like this is a good strategy. Just like, okay, like they're going to make sure that Trump is a Republican nominee again, and count on the fact that he's so unpopular that he'll be more unpopular than Biden.
When has it ever failed? It is astounding. They have only one move. They only have ever had one move. They've always gotten what they wanted, and what they wanted got us this. And now they're saying they can get us out with the exact same thing.
That's like all the people that are so fucking angry now, and they're like all the people who are like, how is it fucking possible that the Democrats had 50 years to prepare for Roe v. Wade being overturned, and they got nothing? They got nothing in like break glass in case of emergency. And the answer these people had is like, they did have a plan, and it was Hillary winning the 2016 election.
Yep.
Which is hilarious if that's your plan. But if that's true, then like, I don't know, she should have won the fucking election.
Should have been a better candidate. Shouldn't have it be her in the first place. Should have recognized her deficiencies, which were on display. The fact that she fumbled the ball against Obama should have told everyone she can never be the nominee. Like they went with just like, wow, Hillary is, she's got a big, she's got a lot of shooters basically in the Democratic Party. I don't want them against me, so I have to buy her off. Not recognizing that that means she's getting guaranteed in exchange for her cooperation. She's going to guarantee the nomination. She was already guaranteed the nomination, and Barack Obama came out of nowhere and slapped the ball out of her hand. She cannot win, and they let it happen.
When restaurants are cashless, like proudly cashless on the door, is that like what is the point of that? Is that truly just to keep out homeless people?
I think so. I think the same thing with the no paper menus. Like they suddenly had an excuse to be like, you need an iPhone to come here. It's for safety. It's for safety. Yeah. And it's like, no, we know what you're doing with your little QR codes and small plates, eateries.
The QR code thing, it's genius. It's brought the fun of showing your grandmother how to print something to the restaurant experience. Finally.
I fucking hate those QR code menus.
They suck.
There's no way the price margins of like just printing off cheap fucking. No. Also, you laminate them. There are so many things you could do that aren't the QR code. It's just so transparently like. Not only do we not want homeless people coming in here, or poor people even, we don't even want Android users in here. You're trash. You fucking garbage. Stay out of our fusion restaurant.
When it was like a pandemic thing, like I remember March of 2020 when like no one knew what the fuck COVID was before we knew it was fake, right? And and it was like people weren't sure if it spread on surfaces. And I remember like wiping down my groceries once
Same.
and being like,
oh yeah.
you know what? If this is the difference between me living or dying, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I'll fucking die.
Some things are worse than death.
Terrible news that I'm just sort of crestfallen to having to share on the show here. But this does follow up a story we did a long time ago. This regards Lauren Boebert's Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert. Shooter's Grill, unfortunately, will be closing its door. The landlord has not renewed their
my bucket
lease.
list was getting diarrhea there and shitting into the bucket. That was my whole. It was going to be perfect.
Wait, will you tell me what Shooter's Grill is?
Oh, God.
Okay, Okay, all right, John.
I'm
Shooter's
so sorry
Grill.
if the listeners know.
Shooter's Grill. No, this is good. I'm glad you asked the question. There could be
Revisited.
people out here who are not familiar, who have not frequented the establishment Shooter's Grill.
Such as
Shooter's
my fans
Grill-
who I'll be bringing to the podcast.
Shooter's Grill is a barn grill famous for three things. One, being owned by now member of Congress Lauren Boebert and her husband. Two, it is famous because it is in the town of Rifle, Colorado.
Oh,
and
my
the gimmick at this barn grill is that the wait staff open carries.
Yeah,
are you
it's
for
a
real?
restaurant,
Yeah.
restaurant with guns.
Yes. Yeah.
Shooters, Hooters wasn't a mistake.
I do. I love the wordplay there, but
I love a pun.
If you want a sort of a buxom lass to serve you chicken wings, but with a sort of holstered
all
9mm.
yeah.
I think it's got to be. It's got to
okay.
Yeah, I believe it's very restauranty. I've only seen a couple pictures, but yeah. I think those girls are changing into sweatpants at the end of the shift.
Yeah.
But the third thing it's famous for.
The third thing it is famous for is giving upwards of 80 people explosive blood-laced diarrhea because of an improperly stored pork sliders that were served at some sort of county or state fair that they catered.
Well,
So,
you know
but
what they say.
unfortunately-
Guns don't kill people. Trichinosis kills people.
I was going to say this is from the Colorado Sun. It says here, for years, downtown Rifle's restaurant scene was anchored by one of the only places in the United States you could order a cheeseburger from a server packing a 9mm pistol on her hip. The establishment, Shooter's Grill, was the brainchild of U.S. Representative Lauren Boebert. On Sunday, the Silt Republican officially closed the doors of her restaurant. "We are like a family," she said. "I would say Shooters for any employee was their life. We lived and breathed it every single day. They were part of this culture and brand we created in Rifle, and there was a lot of pride in that."
Any girl that worked for Shooters, it was their life. Here's some good pickies.
Oh wow,
John,
love
how do you
the
rate those
stress.
babes on a scale of 1 to 10?
dude, I can't even do it. I can't even fucking do it.
So just more of the local culture of the United States just continues to evaporate.
So it didn't become a
it-
franchise. It's just one
It's
location.
only one location.
Just one.
It was her vision.
You had to go to Rifle. You had to go to Rifle.
Yeah.
So, the most dangerous bar and grill in America has shuttered its doors. The landlord will not, but Boebert was very clear in the article. They were not evicted. The landlord simply refused to renew their lease. Renew the lease. But they could have bought the whole building. But these things are crazy. It's very hard to keep a restaurant open, especially now. And perhaps
She's
I
got
don't
to
know.
focus. She's gonna be vice president soon, so she needs.
Yeah.
You can't have distractions. Like
There's
giving people
also,
diarrhea.
they're like a family, and I love to lay off my entire family.
She's got to go from giving people retail diarrhea to wholesale nationwide diarrhea.
New FDA commissioner Lauren Boebert.
Yeah, most human communication is like in front-facing camera TikTok style now, where someone extremely confidently explains something they're wrong about.
Yeah.
Hey guys, like and subscribe.
Yeah. World War I was the first queer war. What? What?
Well, the first
reminds
American
me
Honestly,
of,
pretty confident.
every British word,
It's very much the moment because one of the millions of things that got Ezra Miller in trouble recently is he started explaining to someone that Parcheesi is Rastafarian, and pulled a gun on them.
I like that's the thing, because isn't his thing he just hits someone every day? He just loves hitting people.
He's an action
favorite
It's amazing.
But as long as we're talking about Ezra Miller, though, I just want to make clear, though, the children that he's pointing guns at, the mother is okay with them being in his
it's fine.
Care. It's
Don't
fine.
worry about it.
It's fine. Don't. You can't get angry.
Quit being a square.
You can't be mad at those cheekbones, baby.
Patrick Sandberg had a brilliant idea for him based on just sending him off to war. Like we do with Elvis, like a PR.
Send him to Ukraine.
Like a PR enlisting.
Yeah. You just punch
I imagine that Elvis, right, he wasn't actually like in battle, right?
No. They sent him to Germany.
He was just training. And he probably
he just went to Germany.
In a bunk bed.
Ezra Miller's ready for battle.
He doesn't have
He's
to
strapped.
I mean, I guess I would. Do we think he's a good shot, or do we think he's more of a hand?
Yes,
we know he's a hand-to-hand guy, but we think he's a good shot.
It would be like in Binary Bastards.
Daniel Kaluuya confirms his live-action Barney movie is happening. It will be darker than the TV show. Previously, he said, Barney taught us, I love you. Barney taught us, I love you, you love me. Won't you say you love me too? That's one of the first songs I remember. What happens when that isn't true?
Are you kidding me?
This is a real.
Are you kidding?
This is a real headline. John, this is not.
What if it isn't true?
What? I'm sure this won't get made, but I'm praying it does.
Wait a minute.
Like a Christopher Nolan.
I hope it's A24. Actually,
it will be A24.
Wait a minute. It's not true.
What happens if it isn't true? I mean,
I'm saying, is that possible? No. No, I refuse to believe it, and I'm certainly not going to watch any sick film that tries to propagate the idea that that's possible.
You know what? You open your heart once, never again.
Well, Felix has been tapped to do the screenplay, so
I'm so proud of this. Out of like all the things that I could have like caused to happen in the world, I could have caused anything to happen, and I did this.
You're amazing.
Okay, so
this is your Chinatown, Felix.
I think they're going to make it.
Oscar-winning actor. I forgot about that, but yeah, Judas and the Black Messiah and Get Out, like Oscar. I don't know. Okay, the script is being reworked. I hope that's not a bad sign. I hope the rewrites don't like diverge too much from his vision.
So once again, the Chapo Lathe of Heaven strikes again. Dark Barney is imminent.
Well, like Barney's last attempt at film, famously, The Wall is like kind of about him. The character Pink is sort of based on Barney and his life, and he ended up like not liking the final product as much. But I think now this is going to really capture the complexity of the character and the man himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's actually going to get made, though. I do think this movie will
exist.
exist.
I could see this being
We're fully out of IPs.
Yeah, I could also see this being his, like, insane. He could go like, Kubrick did with his Napoleon movie and just get so involved in it and start taking like dirt samples from like playgrounds and like never finish it because he loses his mind trying to make the perfect movie. But
yeah, then like 40 years later, people will be like, "Did you know that he caused Baby Bop to have a mental breakdown?" The last like Super Bowl that was broadcast on Fox, didn't you think it was tasteless when Cletus knocked down the Twin Towers?
Yeah, it was
in the interstitial.
He should have been up in the air flying like Voltron going after 93. That's what I thought.
Yeah. I never liked that explanation that like whenever you ask Fox about it, they're like, we were getting Cletus to an undisclosed location. And it's like he could have helped that day.
Dude, I love Cletus. Cletus is one of my favorite little sports things and nobody really cares about, but he's just
man, he's the best.
He's a giant robot that just loves hanging out around football. I've never seen him actually play football, but he's just always around the sport. He loves the game. I bought a Cletus outfit, like a mascot outfit, before the Super Bowl back when it was in San Francisco. And I just walked around slugging Mad Dog out of it and just trying to do interviews and wrestling people on the street. It's shocking to me how few people understand the full mythology of Cletus, which is a little bit ambiguous, and I wish they'd clear up, some of the seedier, more gray area parts of his past. But I'm a huge fan of Cletus.
I mean, he's essentially.
Well, I think Cletus is like the American Neon Genesis Evangelion. The same, a lot of lore there. I was introduced to Cletus because I'm not like a football guy, but they brought him out for the first UFC on Fox, which they planned to be like a 25-minute long championship fight and ended in a 67-second knockout. So they had to spend like 45 minutes of Dana White just screaming at a broadcast desk with like every Cletus animation for MMA that they had never planned to use before. I love him.
Didn't Cletus at one point follow Jake Paul into the ring when he was doing one of his little boxing things? I'm pretty sure it was either Cletus or it was a cheap Cletus knockoff that was just walking behind him.
I'm not sure.
He's essentially a football-based transformer, though, right? And it's just
basically, yeah. Very similar design aesthetic. I like to think that he is sort of like a RoboCop type deal. Like there's a traumatized veteran inside of him or something.
That's where Pat Tillman went.
Yes, there we go.
He's now Cletus.
I did see recently someone speculate that Stephen A. Smith should run for Senate. And I don't know how serious it was, but as soon as I heard it, I thought that Stephen A. Smith is basically, if he were in the U.S. Senate, would be basically the perfect U.S. Senator. Like, I can't think of someone who is better suited to the U.S. Senate than Stephen A. Smith. Have you heard this rumor? What do you think about Stephen A. Smith as a future political candidate?
Yeah, I say yes. Stephen A. Smith can do whatever he wants. He can do no wrong for the most part. You remember Jim Trafficant?
Of course. Beam me up.
Beam me up. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith is as close as we'll get to having a Jim Trafficant announcing sports. He's you hang on every word that he says. Most of it doesn't make sense, but still enthralling nonetheless to listen to. My only problem with Stephen A. Smith is he has decided that he's taking a month off at ESPN. I think he gets like $10 million a year. He's taking a month off because he just had shoulder surgery. And like if a professional basketball player decided to take a month off for an injury that had nothing to do with their job, Stephen A. Smith would be the first person to talk about their legacy. He's the legacy king. And I still don't really know what a legacy is, but all I know is like if you talk about somebody's legacy, that will generate 5 days of airtime where you just get to debate whether or not this person is honoring themselves in the moment. So I actually think Stephen A. Smith taking off a month of work with a shoulder surgery issue, that is diminishing his legacy as a talking head.
I just think as a U.S. Senator, though, like he already pretty much has it covered in the, like the stock meme response when he says, I'm here to let you know, first of all, we don't care. And I think if you have mastered that response to any question, you can be a U.S. Senator. Just let people know, I hear what you're saying, but I'm here to let you know, we don't care. We don't
He's great. He's great at emasculating anybody. That's Stephen A. Smith's real gift. It doesn't matter who you are. He'll just sometimes pretend not to hear you when you deliver your point to him. And then he'll just respond to whatever straw man argument that he's already thought up in his brain. So yeah, I'd say he's got adequate training to be a United States Senator.
The pink sauce. I've been thinking about the pink sauce for probably 24 hours straight. Since
I can't stop thinking about it.
There's something about the video, like the reaction videos of people just dousing like a chicken drumstick in pink.
It costs $20.
That's reasonably priced.
Like the idea, like the United States of America, the country where wherever else you want to say about it, all of its manifest and manifold failings, at least the one thing it has going for it is that any kind of snack or condiment or flavor is available at your fingertips from reputable merchants. And we're like, no, I'm gonna get some fucking shit off of the internet for $20, like I'm fucking like smuggling it across state lines. And then so I can shit my guts out. Do not tell me that this society is not governed entirely by a death drive. That's the only way to make sense of this. To see the pink slime the ooze, the shit from Ghostbusters 2 on TikTok and be like, I need that in my home. I need that in my mouth.
Okay, so like, yeah, apparently it's basically ranch dressing and dragon fruit, which
wonderful,
delicious,
the two great tastes that taste great together.
Yeah.
It's like chocolate and peanut butter, dragon fruit and mayonnaise and
dragon
ranch.
fruit ranch. Who hasn't seen one of those and wished the other was there with it?
I'm sure you guys saw the Twitter post from that guy who has cards to hand out to restaurants informing them about his seed oil or like how no meal he can eat should be prepared with.
Congratulations,
canola.
You have turned into the exact thing that you are. You have become what you have beheld. Well done.
Yeah,
you are now the allergetic bug person causing a scene in a restaurant out of neurotic narcissism. Congratulations, you've done it. If you're gonna go anti-seed oils, guess what? That means you got to fucking cook all your own food. Sorry, that's the deal. If you're gonna do that and be based, then that means not going to restaurants at all.
Let's not go that far.
No, I'm like I don't know. Wait, hold on. Let me just follow your logic here, Matt. Are you telling me that if you were a chef at a restaurant and a customer, someone whose money that you're trying to take, just simply hands you a card that just says which of these dozen common cooking oils can't be used in the preparation of their meal, that you wouldn't respect that? It's a customer, Matt. I mean, do you not understand that restaurants are in the business of making money?
You're right. I'm going to go out with a bow and arrow and fucking hunt down a duck so I can squeeze it for grease to cook your fucking hoagie in. No, thank you.
So a lot of people compared this to like millennials and gluten allergies and like Orange County moms with their eating disorders, which I think there's definitely some parity there. But to me, this more struck me as like Tumblr 2014. People's weird self-diagnoses, these people would also go around and like hand out cards that are like, oh, I have a Tumblr diagnosed disorder where if I see fluorescent lights, I have a panic attack and I need to be hospitalized. Oh, I'm seeing a movie at your theater and I need a ball pit or I could choke on my own tongue. And I honestly think like they have more in common with their Tumblr predecessors. Every American is the same, ultimately at the end of the day. Every middle class American.
No, everything is the same. Everyone is the same.
Did you guys see the Alan Dershowitz interview in the New Yorker? Our friend and attorney Alan Dershowitz. He's anytime there's a Dershowitz story pops up, it's always good. It's always good. Dersh is always good. He's such a wonderful character. This kicked off with his claim that he received an email from someone who said that a man punched him in the face for reading his book on a beach. He said a stranger approached him and asked, why he was reading that book. And the man said, because I admire, I love it. Dershowitz is telling of it. He said the response that got the man clocked in the fucking face was because I admire the author a great deal.
I love him.
Honestly should have.
Yeah.
I love him because he's one of those guys, when he tells a story, everyone speaks exactly like him.
Yes.
Everyone uses this exact verbiage. He asked him what he was reading, and he said, I'm reading a book by a man I admire very much who's never gotten a sexual massage by anyone outside his family in the past 40 years.
This is like in Isaac Shoneter, he's the New Yorker sort of like apple polisher that has made sort of a byline for himself, getting people to sound stupid in interviews. But the Alan Dershowitz one was pretty funny because he says, "Can you tell me a little bit about the letter you received?" And he says, "It's part of a pattern. I was the most popular speaker in the Chillmark Library series." And then he says, every year they would have an overflow crowd to hear me speak about whatever book I was writing or whatever I was doing. But suddenly, after I represented the Constitution on behalf of Trump, the library found excuses for never having me. Their first excuse was, well, the crowds were too big. So I said, why don't you limit the crowds? They said, oh, we hadn't thought about that. And then Isaac says, can you imagine if Ed Sullivan had done that with the Beatles? It's a ridiculous excuse. And he says, yeah, of course. So I've been canceled basically by the Chillmark Library. That has resulted in lots of people in Chillmark calling me and calling the library and saying, we're being deprived of Alan's annual speech. And then they have in brackets, the Chillmarks director disputed Dershowitz's characterization and said, not one single person has contacted me to complain that they haven't had a chance to hear Alan speak. The Korean War is most often referred to as the Forgotten War, or, a war forgotten no more, or, hey, what happened with Korea? Was that a thing? Oh, we forgot it. Oh, well. And originally, like, in thinking about, okay, why is Korea the Forgotten War? Sort of similar to the War of 1812. It's like, I used to think, well, it's just because we lost, right? So that's why, we just decided to forget it. We lost it, so no one talks about it anymore. But, I mean, we lost the Vietnam War, and nobody has shut the fuck up about that for the last, 70 years. There have been so many goddamn movies about Vietnam, so many songs about Vietnam. It's just post-Vietnam syndrome. It's just like, we've never stopped thinking about Vietnam, a war we also lost. So what's going on here?
Even the one thing that is about Korea in popular culture is about Vietnam. The television show and the movie, they're just about Vietnam.
Yep. Matt, we make that exact point in the first episode because, at the time, MASH was a huge show. It definitely, the word Korea is in it, but it is just a big allegory for the war that was going on at the time.
There's a John Prine song, "Hello" in there, where the lyric is like, "Davy died in the Korean War. Don't even remember what for."
We lost Davy in the Korean War, and I still don't know what for. Don't matter anymore.
It's like hyper cliche. It's beyond cliche,
which is a problem for us because our whole show is, hey, everybody. Turns out the memory hole sucked this war into the oblivion, and it's like with this one, sort of the official history beat us to the punch because it is now, you genuflect and you say the forgotten war and the troops that fought, we don't remember them and blah blah blah. So I think that cliche is kind of we try to make sense of why we have started calling it that all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, outside the charming and lovable antics of, Hawkeye Pierce, Trapper John, Dago Red, Hot Lips Houlihan, Radio Raheem. Who's the other fucking guy?
Attention all personnel. There's hate and there's love.
Alan Alda going into the mess hall demanding that they put up more pictures of black people.
Throwing the boombox over the DMZ.
Then you introduce an American cast of characters, including Harry Truman, Curtis LeMay, and like you said, the old corncob pipe sucker himself, General Douglas MacArthur. How did it go from being like, we need to contain the Cold War along this border, keep it away from power, keep it away from Europe, and make sure the nukes don't get fucking launched, to what came very, very close to a nuclear conflict and basically incineration of the entire global population?
Well, General MacArthur had a very interesting mother named
Pinky.
I'm not kidding. Named Pinky. And she, I think, really developed in him a uniquely powerful desire to conquer and to essentially produce a zero-sum mindset because she was sort of a Norma Bates figure. And I don't want to lean too hard on the psychology, but she dressed him as a girl until he was in his teens. She moved across the street when he went to West Point and had dinner with him every night and asked him, to keep her updated on all the gossip at the school. And this guy was, it was Olivia Soprano situation.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you can disagree with treating your son that way, but she created an awesome adult.
She did. The guy was singular.
This is deep MacArthur lore, but when he he argued with FDR, and FDR went, "You'll not talk to your president that way," and MacArthur stormed out of the White House crying and then threw up.
That's alpha behavior.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he's the guy who had an affair with his niece.
No, I don't think he ever had an affair with his niece.
That was Grover Cleveland.
Yeah, that might be. I don't know.
That was the teenage girl that he was into.
I'm thinking of a general who did this, not
okay.
but But no, MacArthur was one of the greatest generals we've ever had.
Well, he also, I mean,
As a person.
my favorite like MacArthur nugget is that, because this is like it kind of just illustrates like the crazy paradoxes of the guy. When he was at West Point, he also testified before Congress about being hazed. And like, you know, so I want to also,
He was a small bean.
So here, think about this though. So like, you know, in historical context, these days, like the military academies are a joke, but once upon a time, a military academy is where Napoleon was born, for what it's worth. Like, they used to actually be viewed as the place where like the operators of a state were hatched. And the idea of like hazing and scandal at one of them, it's more crazy now. But MacArthur testified and everything, and then he went back to school and was apparently like pretty well liked and popular. He was very successful. Like, he didn't suffer for it. And I think, to me, like, that is,
how
like,
was he hazed though?
I think it was just a lot of beating, and then there, like, the book I read didn't go too, like,
getting off.
Just like it, like, I just assume that, like, it's just like they tell you, like, oh, it was a lot of rough and tumble, drinking and memorizing.
They're all cornholing the shit out of
We
each other.
imported that from England. That's how you create the driven, repressed sadists that you need to command a fucking worldwide empire.
That's why our generals stopped being fruity.
Yes,
stop doing stuff.
And stop being good.
You know who loved MacArthur was the special boy president. He would always bring up MacArthur. He said, if he could see us now, if General MacArthur could see us now, that's so good. That's so good.
Another incredibly fruity straight guy.
Have you seen the latest Trump face? Have you seen the new Trump mask that they've rolled out? This is Trump appearing at the LIV, the Saudi golf tour that we talked about with PFT Commetator. Trump is back, and his face looks better than ever.
Yeah, he looks like he took a chromosome shower. He looks like he grabbed about like 20 more chromosomes on his way to the tournament.
Basically, Trump, I would describe that as his neck, mouth, nostrils, and eyes all look like pussies. And I'm trying to fuck it. I'm trying to get up. I'm trying to get up in Trump's face.
Don't forget the neck, of course.
I'm trying to get that neck waddle.
That's the finest of the pussies on his face. Is that fuck? I got to get up in there.
But I mean, like, I think it's good to start with Trump because, like, he's sort of come out. He's I don't know whether you saw his shadow or not, but he's sort of come out of semi-retirement. He's been coming up with some fire lately. Like he facing criticism about playing golf on the Saudi golf tour. I mean, members of the 9/11 community are angry about the Saudi golf tour. I mean, I think they're actually doing an event at the 9/11 memorial, which is fucking hilarious. But today he said, what was it? He said, he's like, sadly, no one's ever really looked into 9/11. We still don't really know who did it. And, I mean, like, you could interpret that as Trump getting his third eye opened, and, learning about the thermite charges, learning about Building 7, learning about Black Eagle Trust. But I think it's just because he's playing golf for the Saudis. He's just like, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know who did 9/11. Could be anybody. So
I just love that
into it.
It's like, they should really have looked into it. Again, you were president for 4 years. The president is able to, at whim, declassify any document they want. Meanwhile, he's just like, somebody should really look into that at some point. Meanwhile, watch this drive.
Obama.
It's interesting. Like, if you look at the demographic breakdown of Democrats who say they want somebody else, younger people say he sucks, like comprehensively. But older people just say he's too old. Mm-hmm. And that is the one thing that might lead to somebody being able to effectively challenge him, is that because he is so comically elderly, it gives Democrats who are otherwise totally committed to being on the team and not rocking the boat and certainly not questioning the direction of the organization, give them a permission to be like, okay, we love everything about the administration. It is going great. All the geniuses are doing the right thing. You don't think that, you're stupid. You don't realize that we're running against a freaking fascist, a damn Cheeto. But he's 90. He's 9 million. He's falling apart. His ears just fell off. And then that gives them permission to maybe give somebody else a hearing, so that option, the opening is there. But the real question is whether there is any institutional capacity within the Democratic Party to make anything of it.
I think what they need to do with Biden is, you know that filter that's like on Snapchat that people run movies through, like Heat and A Few Good Men, where they have
with the giant eyeballs.
they're sort of like the big cartoon face. They just need to like put that filter on all of his TV appearances, so he just always looks kind of surprised, like Hank Azaria in the funny Google Eye Snapchat filter face. Or, like I said, plastic surgery after plastic surgery after plastic surgery. He should be looking like Michael Cimino, basically. He should be looking like that by now. And I just said, like, just keep getting it stapled back. He's like Joe at the plastic surgeon office, and they're upselling him every time. They're like, Joe, that True Coat will really keep the weather off your face. And then he's like, yeah, listen, Mac, you're a goddamn liar.
They take like the like pitiful back fat he still has off of his love handles and just like inject it right into his dick. They've just upsold him on things he doesn't even need. He has a big leaking, like fat and silicone cock while he's stumbling around a press conference.
Give him a BBL. Give him a butt injections. Give him a big old like Kim Kardashian ass.
BBL, dick weights. Give him
like
fillers.
the things where you like inject like silicone into your balls.
Yes,
so they get gigantic.
Yes.
Like the sort of puffy nipples.
Yes.
What's that oil that you're putting synthol or whatever to get the giant
synthol
muscles? Give them those too, so you just like jack.
Well, yeah. I don't know why not, because it's like, well, you're already like killing him. You're already like
in the uncanny valley. We're not escaping from the uncanny valley. We might as well play around in here like it's a fucking open world video game. Let's see how nutty we can get with it.
The Joe Biden character select screen, like like the sort of upping all.
Just go Monster Factory on Joe Biden.